was a wild year, 2020, a year that is showing itself in the way that our farm looks. Today, we are going to take you on a virtual farm tour of our family homestead. It's ragged, unkept, messy, muddy, and wild, just like 2020. The spring saw us planting like crazy because grocery stores had shortages. The greenhouse was in better straits than it is right now, full of huge spinach leaves and life. Summer exploded with the green bean and elderberry apocalypse. We had canned as many green beans as we could possibly handle, all while packing as many bags of dried elderberries as our customers demanded. The business of summer turned into chaos. We all but gave up on the green bean patch because they were ripe quicker than we were ready to harvest and can them. We just didn't have time to get to them. We had decided to take a much needed day off and head over to the coast, but what we would come back to that night was nothing we ever thought would happen to us. We had seen the warning on the news for the epic windstorm they were expecting. We made sure that we were back before that was expected to hit our farm. Power had gone out in the middle of making dinner. We managed to scrounge up some food and then spent the evening in candlelight until bedtime. I couldn't sleep though, and neither could the youngest farm girl, so I was up with her. The winds were raging so hard, tree branches constantly hitting the roof and the house. Sirens were blaring constantly as if we were in a war movie. I kept checking Facebook to see if the power would come back on and what all the sirens were about, when I saw the most unreal warning I had ever seen. Evacuate. The wildfire headed our way. I read and reread the warning. I woke up the farmer and showed him, not sure it was even real. We decided we better pack up. We gathered clothes, children, and the farm animals, as many as we could squeeze in our vehicles, not knowing if we would ever see our home, our farm, and our business again. It was unreal. We spent the next week constantly checking on updates about our house. The National Guard were called in to form a checkpoint on the edge of the fire line, which was just down our road. Looters were reported to be going through the homes in our area that had been evacuated. It was a couple of days before we knew that our house was okay. I just heard from Paul they made it there already. They took the back road to get there and said there was no fire damage all the way up to our house. Our house is fine. Thank you for all the prayers. And that the fire had literally gone up and around it and come down on just the other side, taking with it one of our favorite hiking areas. The smoke, though, it was so bad. It was thicker than any fog we had ever seen, and the skies for miles around were red like Mars. It was terrifying. The field outside of Sublimity. This is Highway 22, headed west away from the fires towards Salem. Last I heard, there's still evacuees over here at the harvest grounds, which you can't see because of the smoke. When we were finally able to return home to our farm and our business, we had no idea what to expect. Would we have massive amounts of fire damage? Would our power and internet ever be back up? What about our business? Would all of our supplies and inventory be okay? Oh, my home. Look at that tree damage. Thankfully, we're one of the few blessed ones that had no fire damage, no smoke damage, and only some yard cleanup from the massive windstorm and the ashes from the fire. Opening 2021 with a very different outlook than at the start of 2020. It's a year of recovery, a year to rejuvenate. The winds had sent so many branches into the greenhouse that we have several tears all over the plastic and one major tear that is unrepairable. That means it's time to replace the plastic on our greenhouse. It's time to clean it up and get ready for spring planting. The table that held our seed trays is coming down. The moldy herbs are coming out. The soil will get amended and new seeds will be planted, and soon this will be filled with new life and new hope. The muck and the mess of the rest of the yard has kept us in the house for most of the winter. We're itching though to get outside and retake this wild yard and turn it into something beautiful and productive. Ashes filled this garden space and took our garden much earlier than we had hoped. We lost summer that day of the fire, and when the smoke finally cleared, fall had come. The ashes killed so many of the plants and made it hard to do anything in the garden. Not having had time to cover the garden properly, it has become a large mud pit. With all of the rain and the clay soil, we are not able to get into it until May at least, which is much too late for so many of the crops we would love to grow. These problems have inspired us with new solutions and beautiful dreams. We invite you to join us this year on our journey of rejuvenation, our journey to rebuild our family homestead. Once our greenhouse has been repaired and refreshed, we are diving into a special project, turning this muddy garden into a raised bed paradise, reminiscent of the monastery gardens of times past. Starting out with a shed build to house our new Farmhouse Tea's office, also known as my personal she shed. Barn style, of course, and if this gal can dream, a shiplap interior with space to store our personal apothecary and a filming studio for our channel here, as well as our monthly membership videos. Eventually, the whole 2,000 square foot garden will be covered with raised garden beds, intricate pathways, a seating area around our fire pit, and archways filled with beautiful flowers and vegetables. If you would love to join us on this journey, make sure you give us a thumbs up on this video. And if you don't want to miss any of those videos, hit the subscribe button below. 2020, we will not forget you or all of the lessons learned, but may beauty come from your ashes as we carry those lessons forward. After all, the best views come from the highest clouds.